I woke up in a hospital after my own mother drugged me and told everyone she was saving my womb. Then I discovered she'd been building a fake medical case against me for months. My mother, Patricia, started preparing my sister and me for motherhood before we even understood what it meant. When I was 8, she brought home 2 pregnancy simulation suits. Her mother brought home 2 pregnancy simulation suits. They were ugly, padded contraptions with straps around the shoulders. Each had a weighted pouch designed to mimic a pregnant belly. Patricia filled each pouch with 20 pounds of sand. "Put them on," she said. Maria stared at hers. "Why?" "Because you need to learn what your body will go through someday." Her sister Elena was already pulling hers over her shoulders. That was the difference between them from the beginning. Maria hated every second of those sessions, while Patricia made the girls wear the suits for hours. They did chores, walked around the house, and practiced breathing exercises. If Maria complained about back pain, Patricia added more weight. Real mothers don't whine. Then came the videos, including birth videos and pregnancy documentaries. There were also breastfeeding tutorials and realistic baby dolls. The dolls cried whenever they weren't held correctly. Patricia made the girls practice feeding them, changing them, rocking them, and calming them down. Maria secretly counted the minutes until each session ended. Elena didn't because she loved it. She walked around the house with her fake belly, talking to it like a baby was already inside. She memorized everything Patricia taught her, and she never complained about the weight. She never questioned why 2 children were being trained for a future they hadn't chosen. By 16, Elena was asking Patricia how she could become a surrogate. Patricia was thrilled, and she began talking about Elena like she'd discovered her life's purpose. At 18, Elena signed her first surrogacy contract, and Patricia threw a huge celebration. It wasn't a graduation party, and it wasn't about college. It wasn't even about Elena becoming an adult. It was about her uterus. Maria stood near the edge of the room while relatives congratulated Elena. They praised her for giving another couple the gift of life. Patricia couldn't stop smiling. "She's going to make such a wonderful mother someday," she told everyone. Maria said nothing. Over the next few years, Elena carried baby after baby for other families. Patricia treated every pregnancy like a championship season. She posted pictures, told stories, praised Elena publicly, and made sure everyone knew exactly what her daughter had sacrificed. Maria took a completely different path. She earned a biomedical degree and volunteered at women's shelters. Eventually, she went to law school and became an attorney. She specialized in reproductive rights and medical ethics. That should have made Patricia proud, but instead, it became ammunition. At family gatherings, Patricia would smile sweetly and tell people Maria was still figuring things out. Then she'd lower her voice and add, "She's wasting the best years of her life." Maria learned to ignore it, but she couldn't ignore Elena's condition. By 25, Elena had already gone through several pregnancies. Her hips constantly hurt, and she struggled to walk after long periods of standing. She had recurring infections, chronic exhaustion, and patches of hair that had started falling out. Maria tried talking to her privately. "You don't have to keep doing this." Elena looked genuinely confused. "This is what I'm good at." "You're in pain." "Pain doesn't mean it's wrong." "Who told you that?" Elena's expression changed. "Mom." That answer told Maria everything. Patricia had convinced her daughter that suffering was proof of purpose. Maria backed off because she couldn't rescue Elena by force. She could only make sure Patricia never got the same control over her, so Maria learned to play along. When Patricia asked about children, Maria said she was thinking about it. When Patricia complained that Maria always wore fitted clothes, Maria started wearing looser ones around family. When Patricia brought up fertility clinics, Maria pretended to be interested. Once, she even opened a fertility clinic website while sitting beside her mother. Patricia nearly cried with happiness. "You're finally thinking about your future." Maria smiled. "Maybe." What Patricia didn't know was that Maria was secretly studying for the LSAT. She applied to law schools across the country and eventually built the career she'd always wanted. By 28, Maria was doing exactly what Patricia had spent years trying to prevent. She was helping women escape reproductive coercion. Her mother hated it. Every case Maria won seemed to Patricia like a personal attack. Then came the invitation. Patricia called Maria one Friday afternoon and told her Elena was having a family celebration dinner. "Nothing crazy," Patricia said. "Just dinner." Maria almost didn't go, but Elena had been having another difficult pregnancy, and Maria wanted to check on her. So she arrived at Patricia's house that evening expecting cake and small talk. She also expected another round of uncomfortable questions about marriage and babies. Instead, the moment Maria sat down, she noticed something strange. There were no decorations, no cake, and no gifts. Just Patricia, Elena, and several medical-looking supplies arranged on the kitchen counter. Maria's stomach tightened. "What is this?" Patricia smiled. "It's time we talked seriously." Elena sat beside her mother with her hands folded over her swollen stomach. Maria looked from one woman to the other. "What did you do?" Patricia reached beneath the table and pulled out a folder. "I've taken care of everything." Maria didn't touch it. "Everything what?" "Your fertility treatment." Maria stared at her, and for a second she thought Patricia was joking. Then she saw the syringe. Patricia lifted it from the table. I've already arranged the protocol. These hormones will stimulate your ovaries. We'll monitor everything carefully. Maria stood so fast her chair scraped backward. No. Patricia's smile disappeared. Don't make this difficult. I said no. You've been saying no for 20 years. Because it's my body. Elena stood behind Maria. Please. Maria turned toward her. Elena, move. I just want you to understand. No, you need to move. Instead, Elena grabbed Maria's arms. Maria froze. Elena, please don't fight Mom. Patricia stepped closer with the syringe. Maria twisted hard, trying to pull free. Let go of me. Patricia's face remained strangely calm. You'll thank me. Maria fought harder, then the needle went into her thigh. A sharp burn spread through the muscle. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Maria stared at Patricia. What did you give me? Patricia calmly removed the syringe. Exactly what you need. Maria's legs began to weaken and her vision blurred around the edges. She grabbed the table, but her fingers wouldn't cooperate. Then she noticed the rest of the supplies. There wasn't one syringe, but several. Hormone vials, needles, medication packets, and documents. This hadn't been some insane impulse. Patricia had prepared for this. Maria's heart began pounding. What did you do? Patricia picked up her phone. Yes, she said, speaking to someone on the other end. We've started the protocol. Maria's blood went cold. Patricia continued. She'll be ready soon. Maria tried to move, but her legs gave out. The last thing she saw before everything went black was Patricia standing over her, looking relieved. Maria woke beneath fluorescent hospital lights. A monitor was beeping beside her and her mouth was dry. Her body felt like it had been crushed from the inside. Patricia was standing beside the bed. The first thing she said was not an apology. We only brought you here because we wanted to save your womb. Maria stared at her. Then she understood. Patricia still thought this was about motherhood. A nurse entered to check the monitors, and Maria immediately pressed the red emergency button. I need her out. Patricia stiffened. Maria, get her out. The nurse looked at Patricia, then at Maria's chart. Something changed in her expression. Ma'am, I need you to step outside. Patricia protested. I'm her mother, and she's asking you to leave. For once, Patricia had no answer. The door closed behind her. Maria's hands began shaking. The nurse pulled the curtain and lowered her voice. Tell me exactly what happened. Maria did, describing the pregnancy, simulations, and years of pressure. She explained Elena's surrogacy, the injection, and the plans. She also described hearing Patricia say the protocol had started. The nurse listened without interrupting. When Maria finished, the nurse immediately called hospital security. Then she made another call. A few minutes later, Patricia was no longer allowed anywhere near the room. Maria thought that was the end of the immediate danger. She was wrong. Because Patricia hadn't spent 20 years preparing Maria to become a mother. She'd spent 20 years preparing a system that would make Maria look insane for refusing. And while Maria lay helpless in a hospital bed, Patricia had already started using it. The nurse returned 20 minutes later with a uniformed detective. My name is Detective Rodriguez, he said, pulling a chair beside Maria's bed. I work cases involving domestic violence and forced medical procedures. Maria looked at the nurse. She told you? She told me enough to know we need to document everything. Rodriguez placed a small recorder on the table. Start with the injection. Maria explained what happened at the dinner. She described the syringe, the other supplies, Elena restraining her, and Patricia saying the treatment had already started. Rodriguez listened carefully, then asked the question that changed everything. Does your mother have access to medical facilities? Maria hesitated. She works at a fertility clinic. Which one? Blessed Beginnings. Rodriguez stopped writing. Your mother works there? Yes. He exchanged a glance with the nurse. That clinic has come up before. Maria pushed herself higher against the pillow. How? We've had complaints involving women who were pressured into fertility procedures, egg donation, surrogacy. Sometimes the women later claim they never fully understood what they were agreeing to. But they signed consent forms? That is the problem. Rodriguez leaned forward. On paper, everything looks legitimate. Maria immediately understood, because the paperwork makes it look voluntary. Exactly. Before he could continue, Patricia appeared outside the glass. She was arguing with hospital security, and her face was furious. Then she spotted Maria watching. Patricia pressed one hand against the glass and mouthed something. Maria couldn't hear her, but she understood the message. Ungrateful. Rodriguez noticed. Has she threatened you before? Not directly. Has she ever controlled your finances, medical decisions, housing, transportation? Maria thought about it. Then something clicked. My medical records. What about them? I need to check something. The hospital gave her access to the patient portal from a tablet. Maria opened her records and began scrolling. 3 months earlier, there had been a change to her medical power of attorney. Her mother was now listed as Maria's authorized medical decision maker. Maria stared at the document. I never signed this. Rodriguez moved closer. Are you sure? I've never even seen this form. The signature looked almost perfect. Almost. Maria knew her own handwriting. The letters were right, but the pressure was wrong. Her signature usually slanted slightly upward. This one stayed unnaturally level. She traced it. Rodriguez photographed the screen. Keep going. Maria searched through the recent documents. There were more, including a fertility consultation, a preliminary egg retrieval consent form, and a medical history questionnaire. Every document contained her name. Several contained signatures that looked like hers. None had been signed by her. Then Rodriguez noticed something. What date is that? Last week. That's before the dinner. Maria's throat tightened. This was planned. Rodriguez didn't disagree. He began photographing every document. Do you know whether your mother has access to your apartment? Yes. Keys? Yes. Car? Yes. Passwords? She knows some old ones. Rodriguez's expression hardened. Change every password you can. Maria reached for her phone. It buzzed before she could unlock it. A message from Elena appeared. How could you involve police? Mom was trying to help you. Another appeared. You're destroying this family. Then another. She only wants you to experience motherhood. Maria showed Rodriguez the screen. He read the messages silently. Save everything. I will. The door opened again. A man in an expensive suit entered. I'm representing Patricia Bennett. Rodriguez looked at his watch. That was fast. The attorney smiled. There seems to have been a serious misunderstanding. Maria immediately knew what was happening. Her mother wasn't improvising. She had already prepared a response. The attorney placed a folder on the table. My client believes Maria experienced a severe emotional episode during the family dinner. She became violent and irrational. Patricia attempted to administer what she believed was a fertility support medication. She injected me, Maria said. The attorney didn't react. Given the hormone exposure and Maria's current condition, we're concerned about her mental state. Rodriguez stood. Are you suggesting she's incompetent? I'm suggesting everyone should be careful before drawing conclusions. The lawyer left with the folder. Rodriguez waited until the door closed. Something's wrong, Maria nodded. She's building a story. Then we need to get ahead of it. They didn't have much time. The next morning, Maria discovered just how far Patricia had gone. Her law firm called. The receptionist sounded nervous. Maria, your mother contacted the managing partners. Why? She said you're dealing with a medical crisis. I am not. We understand. No, you don't. Listen to me. She doesn't have permission to speak for me. There was silence. Then the receptionist said, the partners think you should take some time away. Maria's stomach dropped. They removed me from my cases? Temporarily. Who authorized that? Your mother said she had your medical authorization. Maria ended the call. She immediately contacted her work account. Her password had been changed. The recovery email was unfamiliar. Patricia had locked her out. Then Maria's bank app sent an alert. A withdrawal had been made from her savings account. She called the bank. Another authorization had already been entered. Her mother was trying to create the appearance that Maria couldn't manage her own affairs. And the most dangerous part was that Patricia wasn't doing it alone. That afternoon, a hospital social worker entered Maria's room. She introduced herself professionally, but the moment she saw Maria's name, her expression changed. Patricia Bennett is your mother? Yes. The woman hesitated. We've had some interactions with her. What kind? She looked toward the hallway. I can't discuss other patients. Maria understood. You've seen this before. The social worker didn't answer. She handed Maria several domestic violence resources. Her hands were trembling. Then she left. Rodriguez returned later with new information. I checked the clinic. And? Your mother isn't just a receptionist. Maria stared at him. What do you mean? She handles intake paperwork. He placed a folder on the bed. She's involved in the first contact with women considering egg donation and surrogacy. Maria opened it. Several cases had similar patterns. Young women, financial problems, and family members making referrals. Sudden decisions to become donors or surrogates. And Patricia's name appeared repeatedly in the intake records. Do these women know they're being pressured? We don't know yet. Can you investigate the clinic? We can, but we need more than suspicion. Every woman signed consent forms. Maria looked at the documents. That doesn't mean consent wasn't manipulated. I know. He closed the folder. But right now, you're the easiest target because your mother has built a medical narrative around you. Maria's phone buzzed again. This time it was her boyfriend, James Carter. She answered immediately. James. His voice sounded uncertain. Maria, what's going on? My mother attacked me. I heard you had some kind of breakdown. Maria closed her eyes. She told you that. She said you were obsessed with having a baby and became violent when she tried to help. That isn't true. I don't know what to believe. Maria looked through the glass. Patricia was standing in the hallway watching. She smiled. Maria understood exactly what she was doing. "James, listen to me. My mother drugged me." Silence. Then he whispered, "I need time." The call ended. Patricia had reached him too. The next blow came from Maria's own apartment. A hospital administrator arrived with security. "We've received concerns about your behavior," she said. "What concerns?" "Your family believes you may require psychiatric evaluation." Maria stared at her. "I'm a lawyer. I know my rights." "Of course." The administrator smiled. "We're simply trying to protect you." Rodriguez stepped between them. "She isn't being transferred anywhere without proper legal authority." "Absolutely." The administrator left, but Maria knew this wasn't over. That evening, another folder appeared in her room. Inside was a consent form for egg retrieval. The date was the previous week. The signature was hers, except it wasn't. Rodriguez photographed it. "We're going to need handwriting analysis." Maria looked at the date. Then she noticed something worse. The form listed a medical power of attorney already granting Patricia authority. The entire chain had been constructed. First the forged authorization, then the fertility paperwork, then the psychiatric narrative, then the conservatorship. Patricia wasn't trying to convince Maria. She was trying to convince everyone else. The next morning, Patricia's lawyer returned. "We're requesting a psychiatric evaluation." "No," Maria said. "You're clearly distressed." "I was assaulted. You've made several allegations that no one can independently verify." Rodriguez stepped forward. "I can verify that an investigation is underway." The lawyer smiled. "My client welcomes that." Maria almost laughed. He didn't sound worried. That was the red flag. Then the attorney gave them the name of the psychiatrist. Dr. Margaret Whitfield. Maria recognized the name instantly. Her mother had known Dr. Whitfield for years. She attended Patricia's book club and had been inside Patricia's house countless times. "She can't evaluate me." The attorney raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "She knows my mother." "That's hardly disqualifying." "It is if she has already heard one side of the story." The lawyer gathered his papers. "The evaluation is scheduled for tomorrow morning." After he left, Rodriguez looked at Maria. "We can object." "Will it stop them?" "Not necessarily." Maria stared at the ceiling. Then the nurse entered. It was the same nurse who had helped her after the injection. She closed the door. "Don't sign anything." Maria looked at her. "What happened?" The nurse lowered her voice. "Someone has been accessing your records." "Who?" "I don't know." She hesitated. "But there are entries that shouldn't exist." Maria's phone buzzed. Another alert. Someone had attempted to access her location history. Then another notification appeared. Her bank account had been accessed again. Patricia was closing every exit. The nurse squeezed Maria's hand. "Check your phone's location settings." Maria did. Location sharing was enabled for an account she didn't recognize. She immediately disabled it. Then she looked at the nurse. "They've been tracking me." The nurse nodded. "That's what I was afraid of." The next morning, Dr. Whitfield arrived exactly on schedule. She entered Maria's room carrying a leather case. Her expression was warm. Too warm. "Maria," she said, "your mother has told me so much about what you've been going through." Maria said nothing. Dr. Whitfield opened her case. Several forms were already filled out. Maria saw them before the psychiatrist turned them over. The evaluation hadn't started, but the conclusions appeared to have already been written. Rodriguez stepped forward. "I'll remain in the room." Dr. Whitfield smiled. "This evaluation needs to be private." "No. If you insist on staying, I'll document that the patient required police supervision during a psychiatric assessment." Rodriguez looked at Maria. She understood the trap. If he stayed, Patricia would use it as evidence. If he left, Maria would be alone with someone already connected to her mother. Maria nodded once. Rodriguez reluctantly walked outside. Dr. Whitfield closed the door, then she opened the first page. "Let's talk about your relationship with motherhood." Maria knew the real fight had begun. Every answer could become evidence. Every denial could become a symptom. And somewhere outside that room, Patricia was waiting for the diagnosis she needed. Dr. Whitfield folded her hands and smiled as if we were discussing something harmless. "Maria, do you believe you have always wanted children?" "No." Her fingers moved across the tablet. "Do you believe your sister's pregnancies have affected you emotionally?" "I believe watching my sister destroy her health because of our mother's conditioning has affected me." She typed something. "Defensive." That was the word she entered. Dr. Whitfield looked up. "Do you ever feel jealous of Elena?" "No." "Do you resent her?" "No." "Do you resent motherhood itself?" "I resent people being forced into it." Another note. Projection. Maria almost smiled. The entire evaluation was a setup. Every answer she gave became evidence against her. When she explained her legal career, Dr. Whitfield called it avoidance. When Maria explained her work helping women escape reproductive coercion, the psychiatrist described it as fixation. When Maria described the injection, Dr. Whitfield calmly suggested that Maria might have misunderstood what happened. "Your mother says she attempted to give you a vitamin supplement." "She injected me with fertility hormones." "You're certain?" "I was there." Dr. Whitfield tilted her head. Sometimes traumatic events become distorted. Maria said nothing. That was when Dr. Whitfield showed her a photograph. 3 baby dolls were arranged behind the clothes in Maria's apartment. I found these in your closet, she said. They aren't mine. Why would someone put them there? I don't know. Could you have purchased them and forgotten? No. Dr. Whitfield made another note. Maria watched her. The dolls were staged. The entire scene was staged. But Maria couldn't prove it from a hospital bed. Then Dr. Whitfield asked about James. Your mother says you and James discussed having children. Someday, maybe. So you do want children. That doesn't mean I consented to being drugged. Dr. Whitfield didn't respond. She simply typed. Maria knew exactly what was happening. Patricia had taken a tiny piece of truth and built an entire fake story around it. By the time the evaluation ended, Dr. Whitfield had transformed Maria's refusal to have children into a supposed psychological disorder. I recommend a 72-hour psychiatric hold, she said. Maria stared at her. You cannot do that. I can recommend it. You're connected to my mother. I've known Patricia for years. That doesn't compromise my professional judgment. You've already decided I'm delusional. Dr. Whitfield smiled. That's another sign that you're struggling to trust people who are trying to help you. The door closed behind her. Within an hour, 2 psychiatric orderlies arrived. Maria's belongings were taken, including her phone, wallet, keys, and the documents she'd been keeping for Rodriguez. She was moved to a locked psychiatric ward. Her new room had a narrow bed, reinforced glass, and a door that locked from outside. When Maria demanded access to a lawyer, the intake nurse told her visitors and calls were restricted during the first 24 hours. That's not legal. I'll ask the attending physician. Nobody came. Patricia arrived that afternoon carrying a suitcase, then placed it on the bed. I brought you some things. Maria opened it and found maternity clothes, prenatal vitamins, and a journal titled My Fertility Journey. Maria stared at the pages, and several were already filled out. The handwriting looked like hers, but it wasn't. Patricia smiled. You'll feel better once you stop fighting this. You forged these. You're still angry. Patricia pulled out another folder containing medical forms, psychiatric notes, workplace letters, and documents claiming Maria had become obsessed with pregnancy. Maria recognized some of the language because her own words had been twisted into clinical conclusions. Patricia had been building this file for months, maybe longer. You're trying to make me incompetent. I am trying to save you. From what? From yourself. Patricia sat down and spoke calmly. The conservatorship hearing is in 3 days. Maria's blood ran cold. Patricia continued casually, as if discussing a dinner reservation. Once the court approves it, I can make sure you receive the treatment you need. What treatment? Egg retrieval first. Maria stared at her. Then we'll see. Patricia stood. You don't understand how much work I've done to get you here. That sentence stayed with Maria, not because it frightened her, but because it gave her what Patricia hadn't meant to give her. Confirmation. This wasn't spontaneous. Patricia had planned it. The forged documents, psychiatric evaluation, workplace interference, clinic, and conservatorship were all connected. Maria needed to get out before the hearing, but fighting openly would only strengthen Patricia's story. So Maria changed tactics. The next morning, she walked into group therapy and raised her hand. I think I understand now. The therapist leaned forward. Tell us. Maria lowered her eyes. For years, I've been fighting what I really wanted. The room went quiet. I think I was afraid of motherhood. She let her voice crack and the therapist smiled. That sounds like an important realization. It is. Maria talked about a fictional dream she'd supposedly had about holding a baby. She described missing something she'd never actually wanted, and she talked about jealousy toward Elena. She said her career had been an escape. Every sentence was designed for the people listening. She wasn't confessing. She was performing. Dr. Whitfield was delighted. You're making remarkable progress. Maria nodded. I want to understand the fertility process. Dr. Whitfield nearly smiled. That's very encouraging. Maria asked questions about egg retrieval and hormone injections. She asked about the couple Patricia had supposedly selected. Dr. Whitfield documented every question as evidence of improvement. Maria gave them exactly what they wanted. When Patricia visited that afternoon, Maria wore one of the maternity dresses from the suitcase. Patricia stopped in the doorway, and for once, she looked genuinely stunned. You look beautiful. Maria rubbed her stomach. I've been thinking. About what? Maybe you were right. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. I knew you'd understand. Maria hugged her, while every muscle in her body wanted to pull away. Instead, she whispered, I'm sorry, I fought you. Patricia held her tighter. You're finally coming back to me. Maria pulled away. I want to do this right. You will. Tell me about the couple. Patricia immediately reached for her phone and showed Maria photographs and medical information. Maria memorized everything she could, including names, dates, clinic appointments, and details. She smiled at every picture, but inside she was building a case. The performance worked. Dr. Whitfield recommended an early release. If Maria continues showing this level of insight, I see no reason to keep her hospitalized." Patricia looked thrilled. Maria had bought herself time. The next breakthrough came when James was finally allowed to visit. He entered the room looking exhausted. "Maria," she smiled. "I've been thinking a lot." He sat across from her. "Your mother says you're doing better." "I am." James looked relieved. Maria reached for his hand. "I think I understand what she was trying to do." He watched her carefully. "Really?" Maria squeezed his hand 3 times, their old signal to play along. James's expression changed for half a second, and his eyes widened. Then he nodded. "Maybe when you're out, we can talk about our future." "I'd like that." He squeezed her hand once, and he understood. Maria finally had someone outside the hospital who knew the truth. The following afternoon, she convinced the ward staff to let her use a computer in the day room. She opened a fertility website first, then accessed her personal email when nobody was watching. Her password still worked. She immediately contacted a colleague who specialized in conservatorship law. Her message was short. "I need emergency representation. My mother is trying to obtain control of my medical decisions. The hearing is tomorrow at 2. Then Maria accessed the court system. She found the filing, and the allegations were exactly what Patricia had built. Gravely disabled, fertility-related delusions, danger to herself, and unable to make rational medical decisions. The hearing was scheduled for the next afternoon. Maria memorized the case number, then found the address. She cleared the browser history and opened the fertility website again. A nurse walked past. "Just researching." The nurse nodded. Maria waited until she was gone, then checked her bank account. More money was missing. Patricia was draining her finances too. Maria closed the session. She had less than 24 hours. That evening, Dr. Whitfield summoned her for another evaluation. Maria entered expecting another trap, but Dr. Whitfield smiled. "Your progress has been extraordinary." Maria nodded. "I've accepted what I need to do. Your mother will be very relieved. I want to move forward." Dr. Whitfield closed the file. "I am recommending immediate release." Maria kept her expression calm. "Really?" "Yes." "When?" "Tomorrow morning." Maria almost relaxed, but then Dr. Whitfield added the part that mattered. "Your mother has already scheduled your first appointment at Blessed Beginnings tomorrow afternoon." Maria nodded. "That sounds wonderful." Dr. Whitfield smiled. "You're ready." Maria walked back to her room. She had escaped the psychiatric ward, but Patricia had arranged the clinic appointment for the exact same afternoon as the conservatorship hearing. It wasn't a coincidence. Patricia wanted Maria in a medical building while the court decided her future. Maria had one move left. The next morning, she was released at 9. Patricia was waiting outside with flowers and a gift bag. "Welcome home," Maria smiled. "Thank you." Inside the bag were prenatal vitamins. Patricia watched her closely. Maria held them up. "I'll take them." Patricia's eyes lit up. "I'm so proud of you." Maria swallowed her disgust. "Can we stop at my apartment first?" "We don't have much time. I want to change before the clinic." Patricia hesitated. Maria smiled softly. "I want to look the part." That convinced her. At the apartment, Patricia followed Maria inside. While Patricia rearranged books in the living room, Maria slipped into the bathroom and called her colleague. "The hearing is at 2. "I know. I'll be at the clinic. Then I'll ask the court for emergency relief." "You need everything in my work account." "I'll get it." Maria gave her the credentials. "There are forged medical documents, power of attorney paperwork, financial records, everything." Her colleague's voice sharpened. "Maria, this is enough to fight." "Don't wait for me." "I won't." Maria ended the call. When she walked out, Patricia had removed Maria's law books from the shelf. Pregnancy guides had replaced them. "Much better," Patricia said. Maria forced a smile. At 1:30, Patricia drove her to Blessed Beginnings. The waiting room was full, with hopeful couples sitting beside young women filling out paperwork. Maria recognized the look immediately, disconnected, nervous, and uncertain. She had seen it before in women who were being pressured into reproductive decisions. A clinic employee greeted Patricia warmly. "So this is Maria." Patricia smiled proudly. "She finally understands." Maria smiled too. The clinic took her to an examination room. Blood was drawn, and forms were placed in front of her. She signed nothing. At 2:10, Maria asked to use the bathroom. Nobody questioned her. She walked through the hallway, found a side exit, and stepped outside. Her heart pounded as she checked the time. 2:15. The courthouse was close. She ordered a ride and left the clinic. By the time Patricia realized Maria was gone, Maria was already heading toward the hearing. At 2:25, the courtroom doors opened. Maria walked inside. Patricia was sitting at the petitioner's table beside her attorney. The moment Patricia saw her daughter, the color drained from her face. "She was supposed to be at the clinic." The judge looked toward Maria. "Miss Bennett, are you here voluntarily?" "Yes, Your Honor." Maria walked to the respondent's table. "I am here to contest the conservatorship petition." Patricia's attorney immediately stood. Your Honor, this is precisely the kind of impulsive behavior como we warned the court about. Maria's colleague rose. No, Your Honor, this is precisely why my client needs to be heard. The judge ordered everyone to sit. The hearing began. Patricia's attorney presented Dr. Whitfield's evaluation. He described Maria as unstable, obsessed with pregnancy, hostile toward her family, and incapable of making rational medical decisions. Then Maria's colleague opened the evidence. Forged medical documents, the altered power of attorney, financial withdrawals, fertility paperwork, created before the alleged crisis clinic records and the timeline. Each piece weakened Patricia's story. Then Maria stood. I know what this looks like. She looked directly at the judge. My mother spent years telling everyone she was helping me. Patricia began crying. I only wanted grandchildren. Maria didn't look away. You already have 5 through Elena. Patricia shook her head. She needs to understand. No, Maria said. You need to understand. The courtroom became silent. You drugged me. You forged my medical documents. You manipulated my employer, my boyfriend, and doctors. Then you tried to convince a court that I was mentally incompetent because I refused to let you control my body. Patricia's attorney objected. The judge raised a hand. Let her finish. Maria looked at Patricia. You didn't want to help me become a mother. Patricia's face crumpled. You wanted ownership. The judge reviewed the evidence for several long minutes. Then he delivered the decision. The petition for conservatorship is denied. Patricia stopped crying. The judge continued. Furthermore, given the evidence presented today, I am issuing a restraining order prohibiting Patricia Bennett from contacting Maria Bennett. Patricia stared at her daughter. For the first time in Maria's life, her mother had no argument that could change the outcome. Maria walked out of the courtroom with her colleague beside her, but she knew the fight wasn't finished. The court had stopped Patricia from controlling Maria. Now Maria intended to find out how many other women Patricia had helped control through blessed beginnings. The restraining order changed everything overnight, but it did not make Patricia Bennett disappear. She simply changed tactics. At first, Maria received messages through relatives. Then came emails from old family acquaintances. Then phone calls from numbers she didn't recognize. Each message said some version of the same thing. Patricia was heartbroken. Patricia was sick. Patricia only wanted to help. Maria saved everyone, but she didn't respond. Her attorney added each contact attempt to the growing file. Meanwhile, Maria returned to work. The first morning she walked back into the law firm, several people went silent. Not because they were angry, but because they had believed Patricia. Maria's supervisor apologized before Maria even reached her office. We should have called you directly. You believed the information you were given. We should have verified it. Maria nodded. She didn't need another apology. She needed her cases back. Within days, she was working again. The difference was that she no longer treated her own situation as separate from the cases she handled. She understood exactly how easily a polished lie could become an official record. A false statement became a medical note. A medical note became a psychiatric opinion. The psychiatric opinion became legal evidence. Suddenly, a competent adult could be treated like a problem that needed management. Maria refused to let that happen to anyone else. She began working closely with investigators examining blessed beginnings. The pattern was bigger than she had expected. Women were being referred to the clinic by family members. Many were financially vulnerable. Some had been told they could earn money through egg donation. Others were pushed toward surrogacy by relatives who described it as an opportunity to help the family. The paperwork looked clean. The signatures were there. The consent forms were complete. But investigators began finding inconsistencies in how the women had been recruited and counseled. Patricia's name appeared repeatedly in the intake process. She wasn't the person performing medical procedures. She didn't need to be. She was the person opening the door. She knew which women were desperate. She knew which families were controlling. She knew which patients were most likely to accept pressure, if packaged as love. The clinic was shut down pending a full investigation. Maria watched the news report from her apartment. The reporter described allegations of coercive recruitment and questionable consent practices. Then the screen showed the entrance to blessed beginnings. Maria didn't feel victorious. She felt tired. The clinic had been closed. Her mother had been restrained by a court order. Her career was intact, but there were still women who had already paid the price. And one of them was Elena. Maria hadn't spoken to her since the courthouse. She didn't know if she wanted to. Then, 6 weeks later, Maria heard that Elena had given birth again. Her 6th pregnancy had ended with serious complications. Elena survived, but barely. Doctors told her another pregnancy could kill her. When Maria heard that, she sat alone in her office for several minutes. She had spent years wishing Elena would finally see Patricia for what she was. Now Elena had no choice but to confront what her body had endured. But Maria couldn't make that moment about herself. Elena had been conditioned since childhood. She'd been taught that pregnancy was her purpose before she was old enough to question it. Patricia hadn't simply convinced her. She had built Elena's entire identity around it. Maria sent one message. "I heard you're safe. I'm glad. I won't pressure you to talk. If you ever need me, I'm here." Elena never answered. Maria left it there. 3 months after the hearing, Maria received a call from an unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then she heard a child's voice. "Aunt Maria." Maria froze. "Who is this?" "It's me." The voice was Elena's oldest daughter, and she was 7 years old. Maria sat down. "Are you okay?" There was a pause. "Mommy is sick again." Maria kept her voice calm. "Is someone with you?" "Yes." "Okay, then tell me what you need." The girl hesitated. "Grandma keeps talking about when I'm older." Maria already knew what that meant. "She says I'm going to be a wonderful mother." Maria closed her eyes. The girl continued. "She says I'll be just like Mommy." "What do you want?" "I don't want to be like Mommy." Maria took a slow breath. "You don't have to be. Grandma says girls are supposed to have babies." "That's not true." "Mommy says Grandma is right." Maria looked toward the window. "You can be whatever you want to be." "Really? Really?" The girl's voice became quieter. "I want to be a lawyer." Maria smiled despite herself. "Then you can be a lawyer." The call ended shortly afterward. Maria didn't call back. She knew better than to put the child in the middle. But after that day, the girl found ways to contact her. Sometimes from a friend's phone, sometimes from a school office, and sometimes from Elena's phone when nobody was watching. Maria never encouraged secrecy for its own sake. She simply listened. She told her niece that her body belonged to her. She told her that being a girl didn't come with a required career, relationship, pregnancy, or a number of children. Most importantly, she told her that she was valuable before accomplishing anything. Those conversations became the opposite of everything Patricia had taught her daughters. Then came the funeral. It wasn't for anyone on Patricia's side of the family, which meant Maria could attend without worrying about relatives trying to negotiate peace. She noticed Elena across the church. For a moment, Maria didn't recognize her. Elena was sitting in a wheelchair. Her body had finally reached a point where pretending everything was fine was impossible. She looked smaller, older, and exhausted. Their eyes met. Maria expected Elena to look away, but she didn't. Neither woman moved. Years of arguments, manipulation, pregnancies, and betrayal sat between them. But Maria didn't see the woman who had held her down anymore. She saw her sister, the girl who used to sneak into Maria's room during thunderstorms, the girl who had once laughed with her under blankets when Patricia wasn't watching. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Maria didn't approach. She let Elena decide. After several seconds, Elena gave the smallest nod. Maria returned it. That was all. Sometimes reconciliation didn't begin with an apology. Sometimes it began with two people finally seeing each other without the person who had controlled them standing between them. Months passed, and Maria's life slowly became hers again. She returned to reproductive rights cases and expanded her work to include people dealing with reproductive coercion inside their own families. She also went through genuine therapy, not Dr. Whitfield's therapy, and not therapy designed to force her into a role. Real therapy, where nobody told her what she was supposed to want. James remained in her life. Their relationship had changed. The experience had exposed how vulnerable trust could become when someone spent months feeding you carefully selected lies. But James had eventually chosen to believe Maria. He didn't pretend the damage hadn't happened, and neither did she. They rebuilt slowly. There were no grand promises and no pretending everything had magically returned to normal. They simply kept showing up for each other. Patricia continued trying to reach Maria. One message claimed she was dying. Another said Elena needed her. Another insisted the family could heal if Maria would just forgive her mother. Maria forwarded everything to her attorney. She never replied. Then one afternoon, the investigation produced a major development. Investigators had identified multiple women connected to Blessed Beginnings who described similar pressure from relatives. Some had been told they were selfish for refusing to become surrogates. Some had been encouraged to donate eggs despite serious concerns. Several said Patricia had been present during early conversations. The evidence wasn't about one angry mother anymore. It was about a system that had allowed vulnerable women to be pressured while everyone pointed to a signature and called it consent. Maria testified about her experience. She didn't exaggerate because she didn't need to. The facts were bad enough. The forged documents, forced injection, false psychiatric narrative, attempt to obtain medical control, and clinic connection all reinforced the same conclusion. Patricia had tried to turn Maria's refusal into proof that Maria was mentally ill. Instead, the evidence proved Maria had been targeted precisely because she refused. A year after the night everything began, Maria stopped at a coffee shop after work. A young woman approached her table. "Are you Maria Bennett?" Maria looked up. "Yes." The woman sat only after Maria nodded. "I've heard about what happened to you." Maria waited. "My family wants me to become a surrogate." Maria's expression hardened. "They've been planning it for months." "Are you being threatened?" "Not exactly. Pressure can be coercion even when nobody raises their voice." The woman nodded. My mother says I'm wasting my body. Maria recognized the phrase immediately. What happens next? I have an appointment at a fertility clinic next week. Maria slid her card across the table. Call me before you go. The woman stared at the card. Why would you help me? Because someone should have helped me before my mother got that far. The woman took the card. I thought I was the only person who would understand. You aren't. She left. Maria sat there for a while after she was gone. The cycle was obvious now. It didn't always look like violence. Sometimes it looked like concern. Sometimes it sounded like love. Sometimes it arrived with flowers and a smile. That was what made it dangerous. Maria's phone buzzed. A message from her niece appeared. Grandma says I'm going to be a wonderful mother someday. Maria stared at it. Then another message appeared. I want to be a lawyer like you instead. Maria smiled. She typed back. Good. Stand your ground. The response came almost immediately. I will. Maria put the phone down. She knew Patricia wasn't going to suddenly become a different person. She knew Elena's recovery would take years, assuming she ever fully recovered. She knew some damage couldn't be undone with a court order or a clinic closure. But Patricia had lost the one thing she had spent Maria's entire life trying to control. Maria's future, her body, and her choices. Now there was another generation growing up with a different message. You are not a vessel. You are not an obligation. You are not a family project. You get to decide who you become. Maria returned to work the next morning. Her desk was covered with case files involving women who needed someone to believe them before the system decided they were the problem. She opened the first file, then another and another. The fight hadn't ended. But Patricia's cycle had been broken in at least one place. And sometimes that was how freedom started, with a person finally refusing to hand her future to someone else.